Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
Hello everyone, hello. Sorry if my energy is like not quite as high as it normally is. I'm gonna answer some of your questions today. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time and I really enjoy them because I feel like it's my favorite way to connect with you guys because I'm so terrible about keeping up with comments. I'm just gonna have some nettle tea while we chat and we're going to answer some questions today from Amelia Isaacs. How does your husband feel about raising your baby vegan? He loves it. We're super on the same page. He truly believes in the plant-based diet. I know, it's so funny. You should watch, if you guys aren't totally familiar with my husband's journey in terms of his diet and where he's at, people assume oh, since he's not vegan, he must hate veganism or he must crave steaks all the time. The truth is he has become more and more vegan, eat more and more vegan food as time goes on, and he really enjoys it and he likes the food I make. One of my biggest tips for anyone who is living in a non-vegan family, especially if you're in charge of cooking, is, I put a lot of energy into dinners. I make sure dinner is really, really good every night. And yes, it takes more time. Yes, it takes more thought. I want to enjoy a delicious dinner and I want Eric to enjoy it too, and Cosmo as well. And Eric is just completely convinced that eating this way is super healthy and we're giving our son the best foundation for his own health and his nutrition. So he feels good about it. And I should probably make a whole video on the topic of raising your kids vegan when your partner isn't vegan too, because I get, I don't know, a dozen questions a month about that. And I think a lot of people are in that situation where they are with a non-vegan partner and they want to raise their children vegan. I can see how it can be complicated if your partner is not fully on board, but Eric is on board. Now the trick is that because Cosmo's wants our food all the time, he got to that point a long time ago, Eric can't eat non-vegan food in front of him anymore. That's sort of the thing. So it's if you want non-vegan food, you gotta go enjoy that elsewhere. The next hurdle for us that we don't know how we're gonna handle is when we get to the point where we're kind of explaining, hey, we're a vegan family, but your dad isn't fully vegan, I don't know. That's gonna be a complicated conversation, but my hope is by the time that day comes, Eric is vegan. Is Cosmo gonna have a brother or sister anytime soon? We're just now thinking about it. I kind of wanted to wait for the 2-year mark because, I don't know, just, having a kid is a lot. But now at this point, Cosmo's at this age where he's the easiest, chillest kid ever. He's always been a mellow baby, but now, since he's out of the baby phase and he's official toddler, I don't know, it's just, things are easy that I can start contemplating doing this whole thing over again. From Sean K. Lee, did your period come back while breastfeeding? If so, any tips to make it come again? Yes, mine came at 6 months, full disclosure. I don't know if that's something you're concerned about. I would talk to a dietitian. Personally, I do think it's really important to eat fat. Sometimes when we eat plant-based, I don't know if you're plant-based, but it can be easy to eat such low fat, but be sure to include avocado, coconut, and nuts and seeds and things like that. But yeah, I would talk to a dietitian. If you have any health questions, I have a lot of health questions in here. I'm honored that you think I'm capable of answering your health questions, but honestly, talk to a professional. My favorite dietitians are a husband-wife team duo named James and Dahlia Marin, and their company is called Married to Health. Check them out on Instagram and go on their website and make an appointment with them. They are awesome and they specialize in gut health. How are you doing with the move to Idaho? That's from Marie L. Davidson. I'm good. I definitely get homesick. I'm really glad we moved here, and I also really believe this was the best move for our family at this time. My favorite thing about living here is that everything is so close. I literally almost never fill up my gas tank because I just barely drive, but back home in California, nearly all my friends live about 25 minutes away without traffic, and there's always traffic, so this is just the best, that everyone I know is 12 minutes away almost, and everywhere I want to go locally is like 10, 12 minutes. It's just really nice that everything's so like close. I don't know, I just really appreciate that. We also spend a lot more time outside, I think because we're like, we know cold weather's coming, so we're like trying to soak up the last bits of summer together as a family, and we're going on bike rides with our Aventon bikes, and we are going to the river all the time, and yeah, it's super fun. I'm really grateful. I just miss California farmers market. I loved getting my fresh local produce that just tasted amazing, and it was just abundant. Every single day of the year I could go to an amazing farmers market. And here, even in the months that you would think it would be abundant, it's not. And I also miss the beach and certain people and my parents. How do you feel so secure and good in your relationship with Eric? It's so funny that you asked that, because literally last night I made a point to tell Eric how safe I feel with him. And he's just so supportive and yeah, and loyal and very loving, and I think it's because he shows me that he loves me in ways that really matter to me. I feel really, really fortunate, because sometimes I hear of people, you know, talking about their relationships, and it sounds very insecure, and it just I would never want my main partner to feel so insecure like that. Even any of my friends. I don't like being friends with someone where I feel insecure in our relationship, you know? Julston Jess asks, would you ever publish the novels you wrote? Well, I tried. I tried to publish my last novel that I wrote, and it was like the last thing I wanted to do was query agents before I got pregnant, and it was just sort of like a thing I wanted to check off, like, hey, I at least queried. And I got some nibbles. I got maybe like 5 or 6 legitimate agents interested in reading, but then in the end they passed. It's a very difficult thing to get published, it just is. But no, the funny thing is like I don't write anymore at all, and I can't even see myself writing anymore. Even though I do miss it, I just don't, not just time, it's more just energy, like in terms of creative energy, because if I didn't have this gig, I would be writing probably. Sure, for sure, I'd be writing. But I can't do mother, YouTube, and write. I just can't do that. And then that same person asked what I'm reading. I actually just started reading again, because I realized I just sleep so much better if I read before bed rather than watch TV. So I'm reading something by Nicole Krauss called Forest Dark, and it's really good, and I very much recommend it. And I read like 2 pages before bed, and then I just conk out. And it's just the best way to fall asleep and to wind down. Me and Eric's habit for a long time has just been to watch TV together after the baby goes to bed, and it's nice to like share a show together, enjoy something together, and spend time and cuddle and stuff. But I just get very emotionally involved in shows, even a show like How I Met Your Mother, but especially more intense shows. Like we're watching For All Mankind right now, but very slowly, because I can only handle like 30 minutes a night, and then I'm like, okay, I'm out, I gotta go to bed. And it's very, I don't know, intense, and I get really wrapped up in it, and it's harder to fall asleep. But you should watch For All Mankind on Apple TV, because my friend Cynthia's in it. She plays Kelly Baldwin, and she's awesome, and I love her, and I'm so proud of her. Lauren Kretzer asks if I'm completely oil-free. No, not at all. I avoid oil most of the time. I avoid fried food, definitely, and I rarely cook with it, although I have been including oil when I bake and roast stuff like vegetables and potatoes lately. It just tastes so much better. Let's just be honest. Adding oil to a baked tray of vegetables and potatoes, it just like roasts up perfectly, and I just love it. There's contradicting information with some experts in the plant-based community saying no oil, and other experts in the plant-based community say oil's fine. And truthfully, I mean, I sort of see both sides, but the way I look at it is oil is not a whole food. It's a refined food, and it's 100% fat. And there's nothing wrong with fat. I eat fat every single day. I ensure to have fat at every meal. But it's the fact that it's refined. It's like an isolated food. So that's my issue with it. But if the question is if you should eat oil, you should do whatever you want to do. Yeah, because oil is delicious and it makes food really yummy. And sometimes I'll use oil to make like a homemade tomatoes, pasta sauce or something like that. and it just adds so much flavor and it makes it taste so much better. So I get it. I just don't eat oil every day. Same from Lauren. How do you stay motivated and inspired for your content? Well, you may have noticed that I haven't been posting. The truth is, I have been working my butt off on this pregnancy and birth course. In fact, I haven't even told my YouTube community about it. So hold on, let me introduce this real quick. So I'm making a pregnancy and birth course with my sister, Ellen Fisher. We are just like on the tail end of finishing it, and it's so exciting because it's like, I don't know, one of the best things we've ever made. And it's so fun to team up with my sister because we have such like different strengths that we can support each other in it. And we are equally very passionate about birth, and I love talking about birth and pregnancy, and I just think it's really magical and amazing and miraculous. Yeah. And I just personally had such an amazing experience with birth in particular, and it was, yeah, just the most empowering day of my whole life, and it transformed me. I really believe that the environment that we give birth in is really important. So anyway, the birth course is awesome, and we partnered with 4 different contributors. So I made it with my sister, but we have 4 other expert contributors. We have Dr. Gemma Newman, who is our MD, our nutrition expert, who helped us write the nutrition aspect of the course, because there is a whole module on prenatal plant-forward nourishment. So you don't have to be plant-based to take the course or to have an empowered birth at all, but we do encourage, you know, more plants and more vibrant plant foods. So we have a whole component on that, and we just are so thankful to Dr. Gemma Newman for helping us write that. We also have Haley Callahan, a beautiful doula who contributed to the course, especially when talking about how to have an empowered hospital birth, because yes, in the course it's not just about home birth or birthing center, you can also have an empowered birth in a hospital setting. And then we have Michelle Mensch as well, who runs the yoga website Banana Blondie Yoga, and she contributed 3 prenatal yoga classes, 1 for each trimester, as well as a postnatal class for diastasis recti, and that's part of our movement module. And then Heather McKean also contributed on our module about rewiring your brain to have a pleasurable birth experience. If you have been following me or Ellen for any amount of time, you'll probably be aware of our relationship with Heather McKean and her amazing mind change method. And personally, I stopped doing insomnia and depression in just 2 sessions with her amazing method, and I'll link both videos below. Ellen and I have so much more to share about the course, but this is honestly, that's why I brought it up, this is why I haven't been making much content, is whenever I'm creating something. So the last 2 things I've created and poured my heart and soul into were my ebook, Everybody Loves Food, and then the Vegan for Good course. It is so all-consuming, especially as a mom, because you know, my time to work is very limited, and I literally hire someone to watch my kids so I can work, because Eric also has a full-time job. That's why he's not watching him. And yeah, so it's really hard to like split my focus and create this birth course while also making YouTube videos and Instagram reels and Instagram stories. And in conclusion, I can't wait to share more. Stay tuned. It's gonna be amazing, and yeah, we're gonna give you all the details very soon. So someone is asking, how have you adapted to having less access to fresh, yummy organic fruit? The truth is, I still have access to imported organic fruit. It's just local fruit that I don't take advantage of, because like if I go to the farmer's market, it's like, oh, you gotta get there at 9 and this one guy has 18 baskets of strawberries and you better come soon. It's like, I'm not gonna drive all the way to the farmer's market, especially as a mom, where you're sort of like, I'll go when I can go, you know? And then just to go for strawberries, like that's just not what I'm gonna do. But all of our grocery stores have really, you know, decent fruit, especially Whole Foods and the Boise Co-op, like good fruit for sure. It's just, it's not local. And why is local important? Yes, for the environment for sure, because you're not like shipping all this stuff, but also because when you eat locally, especially like fruit, let's take a peach for example. If a peach only had to travel 1 or 2 hours, then it wasn't picked too early, and it's actually more nutritious because it was picked closer to when it's ripe. And I just also think it's like the third huge reason is supporting your local community and your local farmers. So yeah. Oh man, I always get questions about my hair care routine. Literally, I don't do anything. I go like this to make sure the bangs aren't too nuts. Then I'll do this, and that's what I do. I don't brush it, I rarely wash it. I don't know if it's that I'm fortunate or if I eat a really healthy diet so my hair is healthy. I think if you do too much to your hair, too much dyeing, too much heat, too much washing, you're gonna it's actually, your hair just wants to be left alone, I think, most of the time. Oh, this is a good question from State of Zan. Do you prefer entrepreneurship over teaching? It's so funny, I don't really think of myself as an entrepreneur. Maybe because that's an identity thing I have to deal with. I actually love teaching. I really miss it. It's just so impossible to do. Not impossible. It's much harder to do as a mom. I don't know, it's just not as flexible. Because when I have someone watching Cosmo, he's like here, like literally I've paused this video maybe 4 times already to help, or he needs me or something, or I'm like still in his day every day. So there's that, and the fact that like I make way more money when I'm doing content creation as opposed to teaching. You know, right before I got pregnant, I got a job as a teacher, and that was right before the country shut down, so I was only there for 3 weeks. And yeah, I really miss teaching. I was like trying to get back into it because I really like being around people. I love students. I like standing up in front of a classroom and teaching. I just love every aspect of it, actually, except for the pay. So getting lots of questions about like feeding Cosmo. I really love Plant-Based Juniors. They are a dietitian or nutritionist team, 2 moms who talk about, you know, feeding your kids well. For us personally, I feed Cosmo what I eat, and if he doesn't like it, I don't force it on him. I'm like thinking, I don't know, I'm not following any rule book, I'm just sort of following my intuition. Like, he's too young for me to be like, you gotta eat your cauliflower, you know? I was gonna use broccoli as an example, but he actually does eat broccoli. I think I did come up with one cool hack. I like that he has avocado every day or nearly every day, because it's like high in calorie, it's high in fat, and has lots of nutrition, and he enjoys it. So I always give him an avocado before dinner, and I give it to him before we actually sit down to dinner, and he's like distracted by the other food. Like if we're eating food with tortillas, he like just wants to eat tortillas and he calls them ya-ya-yas, and it's really cute. So tortillas are ya-ya-yas, umbrellas are la-la-las, and I love you is la-la-lu. So perfect. And anyway, so I give him his first course of avocado, you know, before we sit down to dinner, and then he has a variety of other things in the dinner as well, like tofu and beans and lentils and pasta and ya. But he's like not really eating a lot of vegetables, I'm gonna be real with you. Thankfully we do lots of green smoothies, so he gets vegetables in that way. Someone's asking about baby-led weaning, 9 months old, not really eating yet. Okay, again, I'm not a dietitian. I would check out Plant-Based Juniors. They have lots of information about baby-led weaning. I love baby-led weaning. It's awesome. It's like no pressure to eat. I introduced solids around 6 months, but it was more just play and a big mess for me to clean up, and I wouldn't even do it every day. And it was right around 8 or 9 months when Cosmo started to actually eat the food and enjoy it. And we were in Mammoth, I remember, the first time he like actually ate like half an avocado. I was like, he ate half an avocado! And it's just like, no pressure, like it'll happen when it happens, truthfully. Like if they're breastfeeding, they have everything they need, and the food is just for learning, and they still get nutrition as they're, you know, exploring with it. But I don't know. For me personally, I knew I was gonna breastfeed long term. We are still breastfeeding. He's like 21 months. And so there was no pressure for him to wean. So it's not really baby-led weaning for us, because I don't know, it's just introducing solids in a way that's low pressure, and it's not spoon feeding, and it's a lot more independent. Like he knows how to feed himself, and although we did and do still spoon feed sometimes, just to like encourage a little bit more, do a little bit of a combo. If you have stress around food, then your kid probably is gonna feel that too. But check out Plant-Based Juniors, they're a really good resource. How's the bang life? Well, I feel like I have to get it trimmed all the time. Are you gonna homeschool Mr. Cosmo? Yes, I am. How do you stay positive and happy? Oh man, it's a hard question. Gratitude, that's what it comes down to for me. It's just being really grateful. How do I stay positive and happy? I haven't always been a positive person. I think that's why it's kind of interesting to me, because it's sort of a recent development in the world of Hannah that she's like a positive, happy person. And I made a new friend here, and I told her I haven't always been a very happy person, and she's like, what? I think a lot has had to do with my journey with insomnia and depression, and working with Heather on Mind Change, truthfully. It's life-changing. I highly recommend everyone checking out Mind Change. I'll leave their website below. Oh my gosh, vegan in Idaho versus California experience. I want to make a whole video on this, but it has been like the exact same thing. Eating vegan in California versus eating vegan in Idaho. Two differences. We're not really restaurant people, so it doesn't really affect us very much, but there's not as many vegan restaurants in Idaho. I haven't even been to the ones that have. I've been to like one restaurant here. Like I just don't, or two. I just don't go out much. I don't like spending money on restaurant food, and I just feel like I can make it better. And then the biggest thing though is I really need some vegan friends. If you're vegan in Boise area, please email me and let's get together, because I was trying to plan a meetup. I've just been very busy, and yeah, there's just so much to do. So I haven't planned a meetup yet, but I want to make friends with non-vegans too. Yes, but I really need vegan friends. I don't have, everyone here is like, I used to be vegan. And I'm like, okay, where's the vegans at? And I've got 3 vegan friends, and actually the nanny that I hired is vegan, and it was a total coincidence, and she's 17 and she's awesome, and her name is Paige. But yeah, that really is the big difference, I guess. Not that I had that many vegan friends in California, but my parents are vegan, and I was close with them, and it was just sort of nice. And then like Mel and Jesse, for example, it's just nice to have other friends who are on the same page and on the same page as you, living the same lifestyle, informed on diet, informed on animal agriculture, and just sort of like, they just sort of get it. So it's just sort of, yeah, that like being, so for those of you who live in sort of remote places, Boise is not remote by any means, but it's not California. For those of you living in more remote places who are like the only vegan, like I get it. It is harder when you don't have your tribe, and I don't know, you just gotta either turn people vegan. No, never turn people vegan. It's not your responsibility. But, you know, make vegan friends. I need to make vegan friends. I need to take my own advice. So if you are a vegan in Boise, please email me. It's funny, someone's asking me if I've changed my mind about polyamory. No, I have not. I think monogamy is the way to go. I've never heard anything convincing about polyamory, and everyone I've ever known who has been in a polyamorous relationship, it has ended up in flames. Will you remodel parts of your new house? So, no, not remodel. Okay, maybe. I hate the kitchen. Did I tell you that? Oh, that's a whole other story. We have a lot of painting to do. See all this navy? Navy, 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 navy in the kitchen, navy in the bathrooms, navy in that room, navy in that room, navy in the hallway. There's navy everywhere, and it drives me nuts, and it drives Eric nuts too. So we want to paint all the navy. And we actually just decided last week, like, okay, let's get back to work on the house, because we sort of took a break. We moved in a flurry, was, you know, trying to furnish and trying to get things settled, and then we took a bit of a break to enjoy summer. We had people visiting, just had lots to do, and wanted to sort of enjoy our time. And now we're like, hey, let's buckle down, let's get some stuff done. So I think we're gonna throw some paint, not just on the navy, but on the white too. And this is Cosmo's room, I really want to put like a big old vintage map here. Map of the US or the world, I'm not really sure. Some cool like giant map. I think that would be really cool, but they're kind of expensive. And then furnishing is gonna take us forever, because Eric and I can't agree on anything. I'm the kind of person who I'm like, I want to pay like $100 on Facebook Marketplace for this like old hutch that no one wants anymore, and then I'll say I'll paint it, and I never will. And Eric wants to buy something new, so that's where we're at. Oh, what do you think is your favorite season in Boise? Obviously, I've only been here for spring and summer, but I'm so excited for fall. How do you and Eric stay connected after having Cosmo? Making sex a priority, for sure. If you are in, you know, a relationship or like a dry spell in your sex life with your partner, check out Kim and Nami. I have like so many links to add below. Check out Kim and Nami. She's like my favorite, the only sex expert that I follow online. But she's awesome, and she just like has so much free information, so much value in her videos and stuff. Your reaction if some of your vegan friends were no longer vegan. I have a vegan friend that just stopped being vegan like a couple months ago. My reaction is, oh, okay. Because it's like, I have so many friends who stopped being vegan for any number of reasons, and I stopped letting it bother me. It's just not my responsibility. I guess I still make it clear. I'm like, well, you know, XYZ, like I'll like explain something. They're like, yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, well, it's your call. Most of the people who stopped being vegan, I saw it coming. I'm like, oh, they won't last long. Being vegan is amazing. But we live in this world that doesn't want us to be vegan. We live in this world that doesn't support this choice. So like from social, pressures or like food temptations, and I hate that word, but you know what I mean, to conflicting nutritional science that like seems really confusing, but it's actually bad science. Yeah, I mean, I get why people stop being vegan, which is why I created my course. The end. A lot of people are asking about like, why didn't we move to Hawaii? I thought I explained this, but I'll explain it again. Eric doesn't want to. The end. Okay, that's it from me. I'm out of here. Just a message from our sponsor, Squarespace.
Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Guys, Squarespace is my favorite website creation platform because it's so easy to use. They have amazing customer support and their website templates are beautiful and completely integrated. So many people need a website these days. If you're starting a business of any kind, if you need a portfolio to showcase your work, or if you just need a professional place on the internet to call your own, I highly recommend Squarespace. They have everything integrated: commenting systems, online shops, inventory management, and email communications. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Hannah McNeely to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Oh, no! Spilled my tea!